So we all knew that they were lying to us about Iran. But this article from Newsweek, where it talks about how the Pentagon, the place where kind of all the military bullshit goes down, the Pentagon literally has stated that Iran had no intention on attacking Israel or the U.S. bases / embassies in the Middle East. Why would they? What do they have to gain out of that? Iran has always been a country that has used its capabilities for defensive purposes or defense of its allies in the region. They've never used it for offensive purposes, despite the lies that the U.S. media, the Zionist media, and that stupid Americans believe. But that's exactly what the media did. They fed into that horse shit just like they always do. They lied to you about Iran. They've always been lying to you about Iran. That is what they do. They lie to you. And still, you don't listen to people like me. You don't listen to what we have to say, our concerns, or maybe the fact that, we might actually be right about something. No, instead you go and believe this bullshit and let a man who ran on a whole thing about, Kamala will lead you into war. And then, what does he do? He leads you into a fucking war. And the fact that these stupid people are just eating it up and they're backing him on this. The same people that were clamoring that he was that Trump was an anti-war president. He was the anti-imperialist candidate from some of those MAGA comms. Well, again, I ask you, how's that going for you? Well, apparently I have my answer. You're now a bunch of hypocrites because you're supporting what he's doing. And anybody at this point that literally calls themselves a MAGA quote-unquote communist really should take that communist out of their fucking portfolio there, should take that out of their name. If you are supporting Zionism, if you are supporting imperialism, which is exactly what this is, you are not a communist. You are a fucking LARPer. In this case, you are a fucking fascist. Anybody that is clamoring and cheering the death of Khomeini, the invasion of the U.S. and Israel, these strikes against Iran, if you are cheering for that, if you are clamoring for that, you're not a communist. You're not a leftist. You're a fucking fascist. Just on principle, you should not be supporting any of this. If you have your criticisms of the Iranian regime, which of course as Marxists we do not support the Iranian regime, but we critically support them as an anti-imperialist, as an anti-Zionist, and an anti-Western faction. Would we prefer our own revolutionary group leading the country? Of course we would. But that's not what we have. And that's probably not what we're going to have. So we critically support this regime out of that principle. I could go into the whole contradictions of, imperialism and all that sort of stuff. I could go into that. But I'm just not. It's not relevant right now to this. But I just think about all the Iranian diaspora and all these liberals that were cheering this happening. An old man is dead, along with his daughter, his son-in-law, and his granddaughter. Along with that, what is it, 85 the last time I checked, so it's probably more than 100 now. Dozens of schoolgirls in Tehran are dead. Is that something else you fucking support? Probably, because you're sick fucking individuals who clap, over the death of Palestinians. But yeah, if that is something that you're also cheering, because to me it all sounds the same, especially to you fucking assholes pouring out into the streets of Portland. If you are cheering this, you are sick in the head. If you are cheering this, you are evil. If you are cheering this, just know they lied to you about everything. And they will continue to lie to you. For almost 30 years, well, longer than that, but because this has been going on longer than Netanyahu, but specifically under Netanyahu, who's been in there for almost 30 years, by the way. Funny how we don't call him a dictator, though. But whenever somebody else is in power for, 20, 30, 40 years, like Robert Mugabe, Joseph Stalin, Vladimir Lenin. Well, Vladimir Lenin wasn't in there long enough, but Mao, Fidel Castro. It's funny how when people are in power for a certain amount of time, we call them dictators. But a man like Netanyahu's in there for 30 goddamn years and he's not a dictator. A man who's committing fucking atrocities and dragging countries into his own stupid wars. He's not a fucking dictator. And I could go into the whole spiel about how all Americans are dictators, but I honestly think that Trump is the dictator of all dictators of the United States. He's just a stupid one. Because for 30 years, Netanyahu has been trying to drag the U.S. into a war, but he never could find one stupid enough to do it. The only reason Bush never really did it is because Bush was trying to get rid of Saddam. He had the issues of terrorist networks that he was supposedly trying to fight, and that worked out fucking well, sarcasm implied. But he was busy doing other things. He could not justify another war. And he also just in general knew the logistics of going into Iran or striking Iran. He knew that it was a fool's errand. But Trump doesn't give a fuck. Trump is actually dumb enough to do it. So Netanyahu finally got his wish. So yeah, if you're sitting there still cheering this on and screaming at your screen going mad tanky, you're all mad. Yeah, I am. Because again, an old man and his family are dead. Many other innocent civilians are dead. A bunch of innocent schoolgirls are dead. But you sit there cheering for that. Cool. I hope you feel more, and I hope that you're that all makes up for your lack of potency. I hope that somehow makes up for your lack of endowment. I hope this makes up for your lack of self-esteem or self-worth or whatever it is. Because you are truly a disgusting human being if you actually support this. And if you've called yourself at all a leftist, stop, because you're not. You're supporting imperialism and Zionism, something that leftists fundamentally do not support. I'm RedPagan Nicole for the RedPaganNetwork, signing off. Until next time. Thank you for watching. If you like news and politics from a leftist perspective, true crime, or informational videos on leftist philosophy and pagan belief practices, and would like to support the channel, please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. Even a few bucks really helps me out. All links are provided in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe, and share on various social media. Hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video. I put out content regularly, so you will always get quite a bang for your buck.